Is it that we are naturally corrupt, or it is the system that corrupts us?
I don't believe we are naturally corrupt, but possibly maybe when we're created, we had an obstruction in terms of nature in some of our attitudes. Nigerians are gullible. They are gullible because where the economy is tight, they still struggle to pay tithes.
Hi.
How should we be giving free dollar, free subsidy to those going to Mecca and Jerusalem? It is insane. Nigerians generally, when they want to fornicate, they don't care about religion.
No, they don't.
But when they want to share jobs,
They care about it.
it's happening everywhere we see it. Since sex became so cheap, love became very difficult to find.
Do you think that in Nigeria we are practicing true democracy, or is just an illusion? Hello, it is me again, KAA, the host of Cartridge Podcast, and today I have one of the most brilliant, intelligent men I've ever listened to in the studio. And what we'll be talking about today is one of the biggest dreams I've had for this podcast, because it's about social norms. It's what involves every single person that exists in this life, and most especially in Nigeria. The person I have with me in the studio today is Olakunle Shehu Ibrahim, a PhD holder, a social commentator, and one of the most brilliant lecturers. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, sir, I'm honored to have you today in our studio, and I feel privileged you could honor our invitation. And not to waste much of your time, the first question I would want to ask you, I've gone through your channel, I've watched some of your videos, I've listened to some of your commentaries, and I would want to ask you first to please tell me if is Nigeria's biggest problem bad leadership, or do we have a deeper social crisis?
Well, Nigeria's problem is not necessarily the problem of bad leadership. The problem is far bigger than we imagine. Over the years, it has always been bad leadership, bad leadership, bad leadership. But in recent times, what kills the Nigerian dream is complacency in terms of followership. Because the leaders are just few.
Yeah.
Out of a population of about 230 or 40, let me say estimated, just one person is a president. 109 senators. 300 plus House of Reps members. The entire state houses of assembly in Nigeria are not even up to 5,000 in terms of population. 36 governors. Councillors are not up to 1 million. In fact, the entire political appointees in Nigeria are not up to 5 million, which is insignificant when it comes to the population that we have. So you now see that the followers have more to do even than leaders. Because if you examine the daily lives of an average Nigerian, you agree with me that things have gone far beyond the problem of leadership. The rot in our norms and values are more exhibited among followers. Because you don't even see the leaders. Theirs is just to issue command, compel obedience. What about those who will obey? What about those they command? So the problem is far bigger than we imagine. So it's not necessarily the problem of leadership. Although leadership used to form the larger parts of those problems sometimes ago. But as we speak, the problem is more of followership. To me, I should be held responsible for my thoughts, my opinion. But I have these feelings that I'm convinced that the problem now goes beyond leadership crisis.
Well, if anyone is listening to you now, they would say, okay, you said it transcends the leadership to the people, but the people learn from the leaders. But then someone like me would also want to agree with you, because sometimes if I'm driving in this Abuja, in a traffic light, you see people, mostly those who beat or those who break traffic rules are the poor masses. You see somebody, a taxi driver, he doesn't wait for traffic light while other people are waiting. You see someone with a very big car, he's waiting for traffic, but then you see a taxi driver, piam. Now, of course, we can't blame the leaders for that. But then, if you ask such people why they break some of these rules, they say, our leaders, do they obey the rules? Don't they break the rules? So, I mean, that is the argument that people are going to through when they listen to what you're saying, and that is more about the people rather than the leadership. But then, I also want to ask if, social media, we're in the age of social media. Everybody is, want to trend on social media and all of that. What do you think about social media? Has it destroyed our culture and norms, or has it helped it?
It has destroyed more than it has helped. When you talk about cultural norms and values, they are well embedded in our culture. Culture itself is a way of life that we must agree that every day it shapes our lives. Social media, we now have a generation with Google, with other platforms where they can showcase talent, but people use those things to search for unnecessary things. You have Google, but you cannot use it for research. In fact, at times, just look at what people do online. And you agree with me that values have gradually eroded, and they are still eroding. So, if you are not careful, it may at any time fade away. The problem of social media is far bigger than the way we look at it, because it's a platform. When you say social, anywhere you see the word social, it implies society.
Yeah.
So you can call it societal what? Media. It could be print media. It could be any type of media. What is mostly important is the information should get to the audience, from the source to the channel and to various methods till it gets to the audience. Just take a sample of about 100 posts and check what they're all about. We have the generation where people just go online, shake their bum,
and they get
millions of views with money. And there is somebody sitting somewhere trying to teach, trying to let you see the other side.
But nobody is following the person.
Nobody's following the person. But you just see one young girl or one young man from somewhere. One nonsense will just be uploaded. And before you know, you have millions of views and millions of likes. And the person keeps generating money. And for the fact that, let me cite this example. It's just like people pretend they don't watch porn. But actually, the millions of people that watch porn, you won't expect it. Which implies that people are more into bad things on social media than the good. Upload a video where you are having a kind of practical session or some other things that are knowledgeable. Most people won't follow you.
They will say it's boring.
Of course, it's boring to them because that's not the way of life they are used to. It's boring, but somebody somewhere just wear a short, wear a bum short, try to expose yourself a bit, dance like somebody who is epileptic, and before you know, like people. In fact, if it is a girl, you see men shouting, "Wow, wow, wow!" They turn themselves to ambulance. Wow, 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 wow. So it's always like that. Any small upload, wow. Any small upload, wow. So before you know, we have 100 wows. And if you keep pronouncing it, wow, 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 you automatically become ambulance. So that's what is happening. That's what's happening. It's sad.
Sometimes when I look at the likes of very intelligent, people, intellectuals on social media, you see that their followers, very few. People who actually make sense, very few followers. But when you look at some of these guys, you see millions and millions of engagement and followers. And then everybody wants to behave like them because, whatever you do to get the followers, you do it. But let's talk about the issue of our belief, superstitious beliefs in this country. Why do you think most Nigerians believe prophets, self-acclaimed native doctors, imams, more than professionals? You see a sick person. They'll go to hospital, meet a doctor, a certified doctor. After prescription, they will go to meet their prophet. Some prophet will tell them to forget that they are not sick. They should not take whatever the doctor said seriously. That, they are here to heal them. Just buy olive oil and take and you'll be healed. So why do you think it is so in this society? And what danger do you think such things constitute?
The problem with us in Africa generally, especially when it comes to religion, is that many people they are just sensitive to religion. They are not religious. In fact, they don't have the fear of God in them. African traditional religion is not evil. But Islam and Christianity has made it look evil. Islam is a product of Arabian culture brought by Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Christianity is traced to Jesus Christ. It is a culture. Because some of these prophets were given birth to solve a particular problem, the problem that exists as at the time they were born. Jesus came and solved his. Jacob solved his. Solomon solved his. Joseph solved his. Muhammad came and solved his. But the last of what we heard, Jesus, it was after Jesus that Muhammad came. So you now look at it, the last two, their religion are the most dominant. But there are still countries of the world where they don't practice much of Christianity and much of Islam. A case study is India.
Yeah. Where they worship cows.
Yes. Are they not doing well?
Very well.
The problem with spiritualism in Africa is that Karl Marx sometimes ago said, religion is the sigh of the oppressed creature. The soul of the soulless conditions. The art of the artless word. Therefore, religion is the opium of the masses. Our people they have been so brainwashed to the extent that anywhere their pastors and imam tells them to go to, that is where they go to. They lack critical thinking. Forgetting that these guys, even before any form of extraordinary power they possess, they are human.
Yes.
They may be favored kind of than others in terms of spiritualism, but we should also note that they are humans. In fact, some of them are passing through worse situations than you, their followers, are going through.
And they are fallible.
Yes, of course. Nigerians are gullible. They are gullible because where the economy is tight, they still struggle to pay tithes.
Hi. Because they believe that is the only way to redemption.
Of course. But let me tell you, everything about African traditional religion, they see it like, how will I put it? But what I know is somebody who is a herbalist is different from somebody who is Babalawo.
That is true. That is correct.
There is no drug. There is no pill you take that does not have any form of agricultural input.
That is true.
And this is well, in fact, it is inherent in Africa. Most of these things they use. Some problems are just minor problems that certain leaves can solve. But people turn it into spiritual problem, looking for what is not missing. Then we now have fake pastors and imams. They are everywhere. In fact, they are the ones causing religious problem. Imams and pastors are the ones creating problems. How many times do you see African traditional religion worshippers having issues with Christians? How many times do you see African traditional religion worshippers having problem with Muslims? No. We are always the ones trying to tell them that the two religions, foreign religions that we adopted is far better than what we had in Africa. Forgetting the fact that man is a product of his environment. So we need to encourage a kind of tradomedical pattern of solving issues. Traditional ways there. Okay, we're in this studio right now. There is African type of telephone. They just pick it, phone you, and anywhere you are, you listen to them spiritually. But now, modern technology has brought phones. Even Babalawo is using phone.
To communicate with his clients.
So that you need to innovate and invent. You need to innovate and invent. Almost every day, you go to all these motor parks. You see people taking this concoction, this African concoction, agbo.
Yagbo.
Every day. You even, at times you see somebody come down from the car with tie.
To take one shot.
So we need to innovate and invent. Spiritualism in terms of Christianity and Islam can work hand in hand with African traditional religion. It shouldn't be all about pastors and imams. That's just the basic truth. But we believe so much in pastors and imams to the extent that most of our people cannot even think independently. As a human being, you have to be a rational thinker. Before you table your problem to someone, you must have been able to think critically. Even whether it's worth telling someone or not. That is critical thinking. Marriage problems, people now listening to pastors and imams. Divorce your husband, do this. And the pastor is there with his own wife. You can see this life itself is not a balanced situation.
It is not.
So we need to revisit some of these issues. We really have to.
It's rare to see someone, because the little I know about you are a Muslim. It's rare to see someone who is a member of any of these religions being so open-minded, being so liberal that you can point out some of these errors in some of these religions and try to address them. If every single member of each of these religions can have such open mind, I don't think we'll have any problem. We won't be having any issues.
Well, I just believe that there are people who are open-minded. But being open-minded is termed, maybe you are gradually becoming an infidel. Somebody who is antagonizing the same religion. That is their thoughts. That is their belief. But that is not the point. You see, okay, for example, as a Muslim, I think, is it not chapter 109 in the Quran, where Almighty Allah said, you shouldn't at any point in time force anybody to practice your religion. Surah to Kafirun. God said it there. And in the end, the last verse, God now said, Lakum dedekum waliyadin. Do yours and let them do theirs. So why are we killing ourselves? The sad reality of today in Nigeria is that you see an Alhaji. The type of girl he wants to fornicate with is that Deborah wearing bun short on the street.
But in his own house.
But in his own house, there is no Deborah. But when he wants to fornicate, it is Deborah. God-fearing Cardi B's. That's what they're looking for.
God-fearing Cardi B.
So, it's unfortunate. And when you see a Christian, in fact, Nigerians generally, when they want to fornicate, they don't care about religion.
No.
But when they want to share jobs,
They care about religion.
It's happening everywhere we see it. In fact, you be a Christian and some people will still tell you are not a good Christian. You be a Muslim, some people will tell you are not a good Muslim. Some of us have suffered some of this stigma. But then, only God knows those worshiping Him.
Mm.
I have these feelings that on the day of judgment, you see some persons where you will least examine or least imagine. And
Expect
like,
to be
and you'll be like,
what is this man doing here?
that's the truth.
Mm.
Only God knows those worshiping Him. I won't lie to you. Because it is very difficult to point out those who have the fear of God. It's an innate behavior. It's something you cannot see.
Yeah.
You can't. It's innate. You can't see it. That's why do your best so that when you're sleeping at night, you know that you have no problem.
You sleep peacefully.
If I sleep and I die in my sleep, I always feel like I have no issue with anyone.
Mm.
I'm a Yoruba guy, and you don't even expect a Yoruba man to have religious problem. Until now that we started having some idiots who are creating issues everywhere.
Mm.
Because the truth and the fact remains that the Yorubas are the most urbanized people in this Nigeria today. In fact, when it comes to religious tolerance, we are the most tolerant. My dad was a Christian.
Mm.
All my entire life, I attended a missionary school. I have siblings who are Christians, same mother, same father. And I have siblings, same mother, same father, who are Muslims. So who do I kill? Who do I dislike? Who do I hate? You find this commonly among Yoruba families.
Because in every family, there is a branch of this and there is a branch of that.
I remember while growing up, Christmas Day, in fact, when I'm sleeping at night, like a day to Christmas, 24th, according to the story I was told, because I was still a bit young, my mom said if they dare remove my new shoe and my new clothes from my body, because they will first give me the clothes to test it.
Yes.
That's how I will sleep with it.
Till the Christmas day.
Till the Christmas day. And I was being trained in an Islamic way. As the last child, I followed my mother's path to be a Muslim. But we celebrate Christmas. It was my dad that sent my mom to Mecca. As a Christian. My dad was a devoted Christian, a respected member of the Nigerian Baptist Convention. I attended missionary school my life from nursery 1 to SS3.
Yet he was faithfully married to a Muslim woman.
Yes.
To the point that he even sent her to Mecca.
Of course, with 5 children. So what are we saying? As I sit here, I can marry a Muslim, I can marry a Christian. I don't care. What is mostly important is peace, not pieces. Religion used to preach peace. But now, the followers and the leaders are preaching pieces. And that's why Nigeria is getting pieces on a daily basis.
Okay.
Religious issue is now so inherent in our institutions. Every organ of Nigeria is suffering this problem. Ethnicity and religion. Those 2 major problems. If we are not careful, they will consume us one day as a nation.
What do you think about this normal practice in our society where our leaders, governors, the president, ministers, they spend billions of naira to send Muslims to Mecca, they send Christians to Jerusalem to pray? I mean, and these 2 religions believe that God is everywhere. What is the essence of traveling all the way to Mecca, Jerusalem, and all of that in search of this God they said is everywhere? That billions that is being spent for such things, are there no better use for them? What do you think about it?
Those leaders are thieves. Yes, they are. You subsidize dollar for those going to Israel. You subsidize dollar for those going to Mecca. But you cannot subsidize dollar for those who manage the economy.
And you're expecting the country to progress.
You're expecting miracle. We spend unnecessary money on religion. Yes. Let me even tell you this. The list of the 5 pillars of Islam is going to Mecca. And you know why? Because it is optional. God said, if you can afford it. But you see a poor man saving money for about 8 years because his or her dream is to go to Mecca. And when you come back from Mecca, you go back to your family house. The only asset you bring from Mecca is that it. And then it's for the allergies. Or you see somebody who just go to Israel, go and say prayers, come back, have nothing. And you spend millions of naira to go to Mecca and Jerusalem to do what?
Just to answer JP.
Just to answer JP.
The speed with which they add this JP to their names.
And no, what most of them don't understand is that when you come back and they add JP to your name, what is the meaning? Just poor. Yes, just poor. What is justice of peace? Just poor. Because what? You struggled before you went to Jerusalem. You struggled going to Mecca. How should you be giving $3, free subsidy to those going to Mecca and Jerusalem? It is insane. Nigeria would never move forward with this kind of thoughts. You even see some state governors saying, okay, this year we are going to send 1,000 people to Hajj. We are going to send 1,000 people to Mecca. Nigerian Muslim pilgrimage, whatever, Nigerian Christian.
And it becomes part of the achievement too.
Okay. Last year, EFCC is still investigating some people till today because they embezzled about 80-something billion naira. So if they have given money that this is for subsidy for those who are going to Mecca, and some set of people who are also allergists like them embezzle the money. So where is the fear of God? Some of them even carry Quran and Bible and be swearing because that the God of Quran and Bible does not strike immediately. If it is sure for them, let them come and swear with Ailala, Songo, Ogun, or Amadioa. And let's see what happens. But they disrespect God so much. You carry Quran, carry Bible, you'll be saying wallahi talai. God is wonderful. God is a very peaceful God.
Because he's a very patient God.
Too patient. And you are telling lies. But if it is Amadioa, you know you can, before you drive from city gates,
You don't strike.
You don't strike now. Somebody, even if you don't look for trouble, trouble will look for you. You must pay dearly for telling lies. And that is the God that they said is evil. Because that God doesn't take nonsense. Yes.
They demonized
the God. Because the God, you know, those days, we had means of social control. There was no police anywhere. If you ask your grandparents, they will tell you they used to leave their doors open, go to the farm and come back. Exactly. And nobody would take anything from them. There was fear of God and there was fear of our own African gods. They'll just take the entire village to the village square. Or you come and swear if you are not the one. Amadioa will not deceive anybody now. Immediately Amadioa will strike. Ogun will strike. Shango will strike. Once you see cloud, you know, we have issues in Africa. This is an example, a very good example. There is climate change issue right now, and it's becoming a social problem. Then, if you look at countries like Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, and the likes, they hardly have rainfall.
Yeah.
Guess what they did? They now have what we call cloud seeding. It is drone they just send to the sky, and before you know, rain will start falling. But when there is no rain in Africa, guess what we'll do?
Prayer.
It's not only prayer. You go and buy one ram somewhere, slaughter it.
Rainmakers.
Is it ram that will bring rain for you? You can see we are not serious. And after you slaughter the ram, it is not God that will eat it. It is human being. You are praying to God, and the human being is eating the ram. How will the ram give you rain? My brother, let us stop deceiving ourselves in this.
Okay.
We have a long way to go.
Let's even talk about tribalism. Do you think that there will ever be a time when there will be no issues like tribalism in our politics, in our institutions, tribalism, religious favorism, and the rest of it?
It can never be eradicated.
I mean, one of the things that hurt me so much is when I go to platforms like Twitter, Facebook, and all of that, you see someone who is making sense. Don't be surprised the way we are sitting down here now. They look at your dressing, your Yoruba, and then someone will not judge you by what you're saying, or will judge you because you are Yoruba. They will say all these Yoruba people, they're always saying nonsense. All these Igbo people, they're always saying nonsense. All this, they don't want to listen to you. But because of your tribe, you are an enemy to them. Do you think there will ever be a time when such things, when we will grow, become more exposed, more intelligent, more accommodating, that such things will no longer be a problem in our society?
It will continue to be a problem. Because we are multilingual. Different languages. Different people. And our way of behavior and sense of dialogue will reflect our culture. Because culture and socialization work together. As you are socializing your kids, if you are someone who is deep-rooted in culture, you are also teaching them the norms and values of your culture and how those norms and values should operate within the immediate primary form of socialization, which is the family, and the secondary form of socialization, which is the extensive world generally. And that is why when some people put up some attitude, you say it's because it's Yoruba. That's how Yoruba people behave. Is it not Igbo people?
That's how they behave.
Is it not all these Aboki, Hausa people? That's how they behave. It is social labeling.
And we've gotten used to it.
We have. It can't leave us. Because some of those problems are natural. Because God created the Igbos, God created the Yorubas, God created the Igalas, God created the Thieves, the Igedis, the Igboras, the Ijos, the Chekiris, the Urobos, the Bekwaras, and the likes. And they were created with that language. Nobody taught them. They found themselves speaking the language. So that stuff is natural. You are even going far. If I may ask, what state are you from?
I'm from Ebonyi.
You are from Ebonyi. Are you not considered Igbos that are not original?
We? our own southeast too.
Because I know it. That's why I wasn't even expecting you to say Ebonyi, but immediately you mentioned Ebonyi, I felt that's a very great example.
Yes.
Because I know there was a time someone was contesting in one other state and they were like, he's from Ebonyi, something. I remember something like that. That is how it is. If you go to my state or your state, we believe that the Ibadans are cheating us because they have the majority and they are always the ones becoming governor. It's like that in every state. You see that one particular tribe within the larger state is the one holding other ones into ransom. So some of these problems can never be erased. Tribalism is a major setback to Nigeria's development. I have suffered it. Yes. Tribalism, I suffered it. Religious intolerance, I suffered it because at some point, some people didn't even recognize me as a Muslim. They don't even see me as an original Muslim. And I paid dearly for it. But one thing I believe is that those who treated me that way are not better Muslims than me. Because I know them. They know me. I know what they do. They feel they know what I do, but they don't know what I do. But I know fully well what they do. Because what they feel I do, I don't do. But what they feel they don't do, they do because I know they do. Tribalism is a very serious problem. Some people can just dislike you on the basis of the fact that you are Igbo.
Simple and short.
We have been divided along ethnic and tribal lines. And these are some of the indices or ingredients that people even put to table to make political negotiation. What can we do to get the Igbos? Nobody will say, what can we do to get our brothers from Anambra? What can we do to get our brothers from Ebonyi? They would rather say, what can we do to get the vote of the Igbos, the vote of the Yorubas, the vote of the Hausas? That's the issue.
And Kai, when you made mention of Ebonyi, it was a very great example. The whole of Southeast, when you mention Ebonyi, people from other states, they said, okay, Ebonyi. Some will even ask you, are Ebonyi Igbos? People you speak the same language with. But because Ebonyi has boundaries with Cross River, they feel that these ones are not Igbo enough. And then, to shock you, when you come to Ebonyi, inside Ebonyi, you will now see different people from, different clans in Ebonyi who are also fighting themselves. You go to other states, you see the same thing. So the issue of tribalism, it's not even about Yoruba, Hausa, and Igbo. It's even within.
Intra-tribal problems.
Intra-tribal problems. But let's talk about marriage. Because nobody really understands what is going on in our societies today. Divorce on the rise. Nobody even understands the concept of marriage again. Because people now judge the African concept of marriage with the Western concept of marriage. We want to do what the whites do, forgetting that we are not white. And then we keep getting divorced. People are even getting tired of marriage. People like me, and sometimes I even wonder if I will ever get married.
You will now.
Because nobody wants to, the way our mothers and fathers married. Nobody wants to do that. So what do you think is the problem?
Marriage in our own generation, to me, is more and highly problematic than what our parents had. As societies continue to change, pattern of behavior will change. Because if you are good to me today, there is a way I will behave towards you. If you are mad at me tomorrow, there is a way I will behave towards you. My behavior towards you will be shaped by your own pattern of behavior. And your own pattern of behavior is going to be shaped by the social realities you encounter. If you are not happy, how do I expect you to smile at me? Even when you smile at me, it is fake. It does not depict the real smile. Then which implies that there is nothing good about it. Since sex became so cheap, love became very difficult to find. Yes. Since sex became so cheap, I'm telling you,
love became so difficult to find.
Love became so and extremely difficult to find. The generation where you see a 20-year-old girl, she already has a body count that is more than her age.
Kai.
You see a boy child who has not done anything in life, who has not suffered anything, carrying phone, typing, God when what have you done in life? The dating pool, which socially we call the process of mate selection, mate selection process, is pure nonsense as we speak right now. The dating pool is pure nonsense. There are several functions of dating, mate selection. And you see, in the period of mate selection, it's just like in animal kingdom. When you see, let's say you see rams fighting over a sheep, it's always very brutal. If you have reared these animals before, you wound each other just because of one sheep. So humans do everything possible to get away with a girl child. Plus, the problem the girl child is facing are enormous. Some of them are very foolish. When they see a nice man, somebody who wants them to pursue their dreams, somebody who wants the best for them, the person is not their type. And you ask them, I've said this thing before, when you see a girl child, you ask a girl child, what type of man do you like? I want a tall, handsome, rich. Those are the characteristics of non-living things. My brother. Yes. I want a tall, handsome, God-fearing, characteristics of non-living things. Because they don't live in realities, for God's sake. Otumba is so nice. He's so generous. In fact, he's a kind man, but he's not my type. What type are you looking for? Type C.
Type C charger.
You are looking for type C. And when the type C now begin to show you pepper,
problem,
you begin to complain. Back to the boy child. We have a lot of irresponsible young men out there today. But they are the ones those young girls like.
The bad boys.
The bad boys. The bad boys syndrome versus first lady syndrome. Because when a bad boy buys a car, the first lady syndrome is that the girl just wants to sit at the front. Let them know that
she's the madam.
She's the madam. You understand? Yes. It's my boyfriend's car. And the boyfriend is a non-living thing. What good thing do you expect from a non-living thing? But one thing I want these girl children to know is that there are more men doing well out of criminality than those who dwell in criminality. Yes, of course. Hard workers are still the richest set of persons, whether we like it or not. Yes, I know what I'm saying. Hard workers are still the richest set of persons. They can never rank somebody who is into criminality one of the richest in the world, even in a state.
No, they can't.
So, marriage right now, and one of the major setbacks to our marriage institution in this part of the world is westernization and civilization. It can't work. Yes, certain things will not work in Africa. If you look at Islam and Christianity, it preaches submissiveness of a woman to a man. Even when you look at African traditional religion. You know, the type of polygamy we practice in Africa is polygyny. Polygyny. Most people confuse these things, say I'm from a polygamous family. What we practice more here is polygyny, a type of polygamy where a man marries more than one wife. It is people's culture. It is our culture here. You can't stop African men from marrying more than one wife. Even our grandparents that were Christians, they married more than one wife because the Christianity came and could not subdue the culture over their religion. So, as people begin to learn certain things from Western world, they feel it's going to work here. It will never work. Because man is a product of his environment. Yes. Man is a product of his environment.
The more they try to enforce it on people, the more problematic it becomes.
So it's always like that. So the dating pool is so messed up right now. It's so messed up. Because people who are not supposed to be found in such institution are there. At 17, 15, 16, what are you looking for? You're talking about relationship. Are you stupid? What are you looking for?
When you don't even know yourself.
Of course. And why these things are happening is because of what we call psychosexual stages of development, especially from the phallic stage, which has to do with puberty stage upward. Their concentration is more or less on their genitals. And each of these stages comes with what we call erogenous zones. As I just touch a small girl, she begins to spark like 33 kVA.
Kai.
Then the boy child is somewhere that will just take advantage of the girl. So you see, marriages are crashing because of too much expectations from both gender. If you ask an average Nigerian today, they don't even know the difference between sex and gender. Even institutionally, when they fill form, gender, sex, people just write male, female, male, female, male, female. No. My gender and my sex are two different things because they carry two different meanings. If you ask me for my sex, I'll tell you male. And if you ask me for my gender, I'll tell you masculine. And what differentiates it? Sex is more or less of biological differences. I have my own sexual organs. You have your sexual organs as a girl child. But when you talk of gender, you are talking about the roles that are attached to each of these sex. This is what a boy child should do. This is what a girl child should do. And it is the roles that builds up, that makes us a man or a woman. And it is from these roles we attach stereotypes. But I won't lie to you. To those of us who are here to get married,
the problem.
Testimonies are scaring us. You know, you just read some testimonies, then you begin to get scared and be like, my brother,
what is the condition of those who are already in it?
I'm telling you. Not to talk of those of us who want to go into it. So we need a kind of value reorientation for both the girl child and the boy child.
Is this why it seems like most Nigerian ladies feel so entitled to the care, love, pampering, and money of men?
You see, it is only a child that does not know the potency of a herbal medicine that calls it mere vegetables. I personally don't have a problem with spending money on a girl child. Yes. Because women are one of the most beautiful things God created.
Yeah.
No doubt. No cap. But they are also one of the most dangerous things God created. As sweet, as lovely as they are, they can also be bitter and turn you into what you least expect. A girl with a sense of entitlement is a no. And that's why I said a child that does not know the potency of a herbal medicine calls it mere vegetable. If truly you work for money, you will never have sense of entitlement. Because people manage what is theirs. It's just like, I'll ask you to let me use your perfume. You, the owner of the perfume, will just do that's all. But somebody will say, please, can I use your perfume?
You turn it to shower.
That's how people manage other people's money. So if you are lucky to have a woman in your life, the fact that a woman is economical doesn't mean you should kill her with poverty.
Exactly.
But honestly speaking, a woman who knows how to make judicious use of money is a yes for an average man. There is no man that will not cherish a woman that knows how to manage money. Yes. These days, the sense of entitlement is becoming very high. I think parenting is becoming more complicated than ever. Because these children are learning from their peers what their parents never taught them. So their social expectations are very high. You know, if you have worked for money, you will know how to make judicious use of the money.
Because you know how hard it is to make the money.
Because some of them, the phones they are holding It's some people that are buying it for them. The clothes, guys are buying. In fact, some of them have about 5 streams of boyfriend. This one will deliver food. This one, that one, this one, that one. And that is why, a child, why they don't appreciate those who work hard is the fact that a child that drives his or her father's car is never eligible to speak in the midst of men that have bought bicycle with their money. If they had worked for it, they will know. And plus, men also need to reorientate themselves. There are so many men out there who cannot help a girl child without sleeping with them.
That is correct.
That is high level of foolishness as far as I'm concerned. A girl child needs help, but yours is to shift the pants before you can help the girl. It is something that is sad, but that is what is happening. And why? Some of these men will also give reasons that some of these girls think they are wise. And it's true. Some of them think they are wise. You just, out of sympathy, you just say, you are hungry. What do you want to eat? Shawarma. After shawarma, maybe once in a while you want to check up on the person. They'll stop picking your call. That is poverty. Because with 5,000 shawarma, you felt, that's poverty thinking. That's poverty mentality. But in the first instance, why will you even check on such person? You have helped. You have helped normally.
Yeah.
But it is still not abnormal for you to check on those you have helped. So the problem is far bigger than you see these people on campus. We get to see a lot of things. The most young girls now rely so much on frivolous lifestyle that is not genuine. You want to buy a phone, and if you are not from a privileged background, people will question how you are getting some of those things.
Yes.
So that's the situation.
How do you get it?
How did you get it?
This Nigerian mentality of who I know, connections. In our offices, you go to look for work. Before you go to look for work, you first look for connections that will make things easier for you there. You want to go to the university, you try to connect who you know, people that will make things easier for you, not based on merit, not based on anything, but connection. How do you think that is affecting the Nigerian society?
It has affected our society in a very bad way, and it's still affecting our society till now. And it will continue to affect our society because those that will become directors, assistant director, palm sex in the next 10, 15 years are already planted there now, and they lack the basic knowledge they can use to run such organization. Nigeria's problem is systemic. It is systemic. Your network is going to determine your net worth if you are in Nigeria. When illegality favors people, they call it connection. But when it does not favor them, they criticize it. That's how Nigerian situation is. So the issue of connection, people looking for favor in offices, it's there already. Nigerian society is not all about merit any longer. Only few instances that people respect merit, consider merit. And some of us I'm a living witness to some of these things. I know what I'm telling you. My brother, I know what I'm telling you. I'm a living witness to some of these irregularities. I've seen situations where these things happen, and I begin to question, what does the future hold for people? It's either you are not favored because you are not a good Christian, you are not a good Muslim, because you are Igbo, because you are Yoruba. Yes, I know what I am saying. I have seen it. In fact, there was a time one road safety patrol team stopped me. And they asked why I was where they stopped me. I showed them my car tire. I said there was no way I could have You know, the woman booked me. I never had problem with the booking. Where I had problem with her was she said something in Hausa that anytime she arrests people, Yoruba or Igbo, that is how she treats them. Then I was very furious. I scattered their office. I insulted the hell out of all of them. That is what you see in every Nigeria's institution. No cap. Mediocrity over meritocracy. Don't care about merit. For example, if you are employed as a teacher, you know, educational institution has to do with knowledge and value transmission.
Yes.
When you transmit wrong knowledge to a child, if there is nobody to correct the child will further transmit that knowledge to another person. Those are the kind of false knowledge that we had when we were young, that it took us time as well. You know, sometimes when we're small, they will tell you a lot of fallacies. Until we started growing, that was when we found out those things were what? Blatant lies. That's how it is. Nigeria, we have a very long way to go in this country. You go to FIRS, you go to NMPC, you see somebody who studied Yoruba working in Federal Inland Revenue Service. What are you looking for? Somebody who studied...
How did you get there?
What do you know about taxation? What about those who studied accounting? What about those who studied banking and finance? And you are employing a Yoruba graduate, a CRK graduate, somebody who studied BA also to come and work in FIRS.
Kai. Because the person knows somebody that knows somebody.
It's institutional prostitution. Yes, now because you have somebody somewhere, you just go there, they just employ you. And you are not productive. How do you get better employee performance?
It's none of our business. It's none of our business. Moving on, you talked about the educational system in this country. Let's talk about the structure of our educational system. The universities from, secondary school to the universities and stuff like that. Do you think that there are things the government or the Ministry of Education could do to make it better? And why do you think that some lecturers are too uptight, too harsh? It seems that the only thing that concerns them is how to punish students. It's like they come to school with frustration, anger, bitterness. They don't care about helping students to get better, but to threaten life out of them to show that superiority. What do you think is actually the problem in our education system?
When people have accidents and they are taken to the intensive care units, you say they are in coma. That's the situation Nigerian educational institutions are right now. The government has so more useless our educational institutions to the extent that they don't even cherish and value education. They don't. Establishing universities up and down, up and down, up and down. Meanwhile, you have not been able to fund the existing ones. Universities have now turned to constituency projects. If you're an House of Rep now, just go and move a motion. University of Podcasts to be situated in Abakaliki. First reading, second reading, third reading. Boom, boom. Presidential assent. People in your village say, yes, Chukwuemeka has brought a university for us. Of what impact? On the part of the lecturers, pattern of behavior differ. Individual frustration differs. See, Nigerian lecturers are in the best way to express anger and frustration because they are not paid well. They are not. And now you are expecting the people that you don't pay well to train people that will in turn become assets to the country. It doesn't make any sense.
And some of these lecturers trek to school under very hot weather.
Of course, I've seen professors standing by the roadside waiting for public transport. Because how much is the salary of a professor? And they started growing from graduate assistant. As you are growing in rank, your social status and social demands and social expectations are growing with you. Nigerian students are not getting the best, especially from the government. You know, when you have facilities that are okay, the teacher is teaching you AC is on. His brain will calm down. But somebody who trekked from one place to another, you expect such person not to express frustration?
And he's teaching under a very unconducive classroom.
My brother, forget it. Nigerian teachers are trying. And they are training one of the best in the world. Because when our people go out, you see what they do. It is the knowledge they gain there. No matter how bad the system is. But honestly speaking, the welfare of lecturers in Nigeria is nothing to write home about.
And these are some of the reasons why lecturers have these anger issues. You know, they try to make some few bucks from other places because, I mean, I understand what you're saying. If I'm a lecturer, I have a family, I have a wife with children, and my salary is probably 150K a month. How do I survive with it? And I'm expected to come to school probably every day, have 2-3 lectures. I don't even have money to fuel my car. Some don't even have cars at all. And then you come to school to meet sometimes very nonchalant students, or you teach under a very hot environment, unconducive classroom where the students are frustrated and you as a lecturer, you're also frustrated. It's crazy. Some of the universities that we have heard the condition of those who are even living there in the university hostels, where they don't even have water to bath in the morning, no good toilet. They have to wake up and look for bush to go to toilet.
If you see the hostel Nigerian students live, I don't know about private universities, but Nigerian public universities, is more or less like a correctional center, a prison. Nigerian students are not living well. That's the reality. There is no university in Nigeria, there is no public university in Nigeria that has hostels that can accommodate their entire student populace. If there is any, point it out. Even first generation universities. What is our problem? And you know, the caliber of students we have now are students who wrote WAEC and JAMB in special centers. Most of them. And I have said this, let me repeat this again. Most of the students who are in our various universities today do not have business being in the university. Don't let us deceive ourselves. I am telling you the reality. Most of the people who call themselves students in Nigerian universities today do not need university education. You know, sometimes ago there is a Yoruba song then. I think they still sing it till now. But it's gradually fading because the song does not express or define the realities of today any longer. The Yorubas will say, Tí o bá kàwé rẹ, bàtà rẹ á dún kókóká. Tí o bá kàwé rẹ, bàtà rẹ á dún kókó nílẹ̀ o. I will interpret. That if you study hard and you study well and you excel, you know those days when you first get government job, especially the ladies, there is a kind of shoe you wear.
Yes.
As you are trekking, it might come. So they're like, if you study where you study hard, your shoe is going to sound that way because that sound then depicts success.
Yes.
Tí o bá kàwé rẹ, bàtà rẹ á dún kó.
Okay.
Because there is a level you study to that you'll be eligible to wear such a shoe that will make that sound. But now, you will even walk, your salary cannot buy the shoe that will make that sound.
Kai.
So, you'll just wear a shoe that will be like, bah, bah, bah.
I'll be pouring you dust behind.
Because right now, there is not much correlation between education and wealth. Education will cure ignorance. It's going to cure, some kind of poverty. You are going to get knowledge. But the fact that you have gone to the university does not mean you will be rich.
Exactly.
I have PhD in criminology. I'm a farmer. In fact, I don't think there is anything I've not sold just to make money, just to be able to make ends meet with PhD. Those days with ordinary school cert, you wear that kind of shoe I earlier illustrated. But now with PhD, you still look for job.
Hi.
Proliferation of PhDs. Many people are holding PhD degrees that they're just professional PhDs. If I have my way, I'm going to tell Nigerian University Commission to stop all this proliferation of PhDs. Everybody just wants to be a doctor, without even knowing anything. My brother, our education is in a total state of coma.
Now that you talked about the proliferation of some of these degrees, do you think that Nigerians are naturally corrupt, or it is the system that corrupts Nigerians? Because everywhere you go, every institution you go, you see corruption. Small thing. Even the security men at the gate.
They are driving in.
If you don't give them anything twice,
you have to roll ya.
Come and pass next time, they will not greet you. So it seems everyone wants a piece of something from everyone. Is it that we are naturally corrupt, or it is the system that corrupts us?
There are so many factors responsible for this problem. So I don't believe we are naturally corrupt. But possibly maybe when we were created, we had an obstruction in terms of nature in some of our attitudes. Because our attitude to life in this part of the world, there is this narrative I've always explored. I always explore it like maybe we were created at night. God rested on the Sabbath day. So the likes of Angel Michael, Gabriel were watching as God was doing these things. So on the Sabbath day when God was resting, they were just like,
they decided to try.
This is where God they do since Monday, where God they rest now. Make we try do am. Now so they create Africans. And now for night they can't do am. Because if you look at it very well, we have a lot of problems in this part of the world. Corruption is not all about embezzling public fund. No, that is not corruption. Corruption is you behaving in a way that violates principles of natural justice. Anybody can be corrupt. It's not all about money. Corruption is not all about finance. So we all need character reconfiguration. We need to reconfigure our character. Yeah. Our character, our attitude is what will shape our personality development. So if you don't shape your person, you can never make impacts in the society. You yourself must be an upright person. You must be a changed person. You must be able to disseminate information. You must be able to impart. You must be able to create value. Until we start creating value, we're not going anywhere in this part of the world. We're not.
Do you think urbanization has further disconnected Nigerians from their roots?
Yes. Yes. The process of urbanization comes with industrialization. And once you are having industrialization, civilization and modernization will come in. Because societies over the years moved or developed from mere agrarian communities to a more industrialized societies than we are. Those days, this is a podcast studio. Those days, the kind of microphone they use, if you see the neck, it looks like giraffe. But now, we're sitting here, people are watching us at the same time. You see, most of the problems we face here is as a result of urbanization and civilization. That's why our norms and values are gradually eroding. Somebody bears a Yoruba name every time. And I asked the person to speak Yoruba. The person could not speak Yoruba. And I was like, when you get home, tell your dad or your mom that I said they are a disappointment. And she asked why. I said, why won't you be able to speak your language? She was like, it's because they don't speak it at home. I said, that's why I said, tell your dad and your mom that I said they are a disappointment. Some trainings are better communicated in our indigenous languages because you can't find a good English word to qualify them and to quantify them. Let me tell you this now. If you go back to your village and you tell them you have a headache, there is always one grandfather, grandmother somewhere who can go to the backyard, pluck a particular leaf. He or she knows the name. They will do whatever they want to do with it, cook it, give it to you, and you'll be fine. But they don't know the name of that particular leaf in English. Most of the things we teach in agricultural science, all this botanical name and all these things, is just confusion. Akuna Matata, Orisa Sativa. This
makes it more complex.
It makes it more complex. These are names that our forefathers in the villages, our grandparents in the villages know the leaves. Let me tell you, if you teach chemistry in Yoruba, Igbo, Hausa, people will understand it better than we teach them in English. Knowledge, you can't monopolize knowledge. There is one page on Facebook, they call it Science in Yoruba. Honestly speaking, and between my God and myself, I have learned more about science on that page than English taught me. Science in Yoruba. Very explicit. And how did I understand it? It is because I understand Yoruba very well.
Yes. So you don't need to have that language struggle before even getting to know the meaning.
Yes. You don't.
It's crazy. But just the last question before you go, sir. 2 questions actually. So the first one is, do you think that in Nigeria we are practicing true democracy, or is just an illusion?
Democracy in this part of the world is nonsense. We are not practicing real democracy because all the inherent features of real democracy cannot be found in our democracy. Real democracy strengthens rule of law, free and fair election, violence-free. Our elections like that. In fact, I have made up my mind as an individual that any Nigerian that is above 60 years, by 2027, I can never vote for such person. Especially if the person is part of the recycled leaders. They gathered some days ago talking about some things when they were launching IBB's book. Enemies praising themselves. Enemies. Non-enemies praising themselves.
Hiding the truth.
Hiding the truth. That's 32 years ago. Remove 32 years from your age. Let me remove it from mine. How many years do we have left? What have we enjoyed from these people?
Kai.
Elite recycling. Elite emancipation. Mass stratification. What have I enjoyed? Everything I become today is as a result of personal hard work. You are there sitting down launching a book, the book that garnered about 20 billion naira in less than 2-3 hours. But to alleviate poverty, we'll struggle to get 20 billion naira. What kind of useless democracy is that? May God help us in Nigeria.
Amen. No.
May God help us in Nigeria.
Tell me the one lie we tell ourselves the most in this country.
Things will be better.
And honestly, we've been telling ourselves that things will be better even
Yes.
long before we were born.
And things will be better. Or the youth are the future leaders. Yakubu Gowanda was 31, 32 when he was head of state. Is he part of Nigerian leaders today? Since that time, we have never had anybody close to that age becoming head of state. That's the greatest lie. Nigeria will be better. Have you ever seen anything that dropped in price since you grew up?
So it's not like the law of
Gravitation.
gravitation.
No. This one is not anything.
If it goes up, it will
You know
remain
they come
up there.
down. They play for Nigeria. That's the greatest lie we keep telling ourselves. Things will be better.
Yeah.
Renewed hope.
Renewed shaggy.
What we are even seeing now is Shaggy Pro Max.
All right. Thank you so much. This is the end of today's show. And we want to thank you so much for taking our time to give us insight and clarification to some of these issues.
Thank you very much.
We appreciate you, sir. And please, we're going to tag his YouTube channel on this video. Do well to subscribe, follow him. I mean, you've listened to some of these wonderful answers, explanations, insights, and you're going to get more on his channel. Thank you so much.